tonight. I'm gonna do short tonight, but I'm getting ready to build my next project over here. So you see, I have some wood over here. Okay, so here's what's going on. That's all oak wood flooring. Some is white oak and some is red oak. But here's the thing: I'm picking these out and looking at the boards because I'm gonna start making my legs for my table that I'm gonna put together. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm not worried about the ones that are darker because what I'll do is I'm going to cut a certain length for the legs. Now, because those are thinner than an average 1 by, let's just say 3/4 inch, that's like 5/8, maybe half inch because I planed them down. So now you got to compensate, right? So I can't use 3/4 inch wood unless I go out and buy it. Which I probably could because I've got some here, but I'm using it for other things. But why waste the one I have, right? And I planed them down. And it's nice looking, has good grain in it. So what I'm gonna do is this. Okay, so now here's a couple of things I gotta show you. One is when I go to build this table, you see how thick that is, right? It's these two here are not thick enough to match this. This is 2 inches, and that's about an inch and 3/4. So I need to go a third one. So what I'm gonna do? Hey Lawrence, how's it going? Welcome to the show. Hey Snow Crusher, nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. God bless you guys. Um, what I'm doing with this, okay, is I'm gonna glue three of these together, and when the dust settles, I should say the glue settles, I'm gonna turn the leg out of this. Now the idea is I have a diagram I'm gonna use. But here's the point. These two are pretty much the same type of wood. The third one over here is a little bit different. It might be a little bit darker. So I'm gonna put that here in the middle so I don't waste wood. Works, right? I'm just doing this right now uh, to see how things go. I'm gonna make another one out of a different wood, but the table I'm working on is, I don't know if I showed you guys this the other day. I will I will get to you. See, I like building furniture. I miss that. It's not just about the turning. That's what I used to do is make furniture. But since the turning issue, hang on a second. That table right there. All right, that's what I'm going to be making. Okay, so this is in the magazine Wood Turning the World's Learning. And it's probably, I don't know what year this is. I think it's a couple years old. Yeah, 2017 is when I got this, so it's quite a ways. That's the other thing. I don't get rid of anything, but anyway, there that's kind of like what it's supposed to look like. Except I'm not going to have the turned bowl in the middle, but that's what I'm looking at right there. Now the reason I'm not turning it in the middle is because my lathe is not big enough to put something that size on there. So it's a midi lathe. But here's all the instructions on stuff and the diagram, which is really cool. All right, I like that. So that's what I'm doing here, except it's going to be out of oak. The next version I do is going to be out of exotic wood like koa wood, monkey pod, maybe some zebra wood. But I'm going to make one as a template and see how that works. The other thing is too, I'm also working on this thing here. So that was my forte back in the day. I used to make water beds and all that kind of stuff too, and cabinets. So yeah, Larry and Snow Crusher, you guys are thanks for hanging out with the goofball. Anyway, I'm not going to be on that long. I just wanted to show you what I was doing. So what I did here, this oak flooring. Okay, somebody asked me about the other night about nails. Well, most of the time the wood I get doesn't have nails in it. And if it did, now the ones that have the ridges in it, I'm able to back out and pull them off because the nails that they use to put this flooring down is a different nail than just a standard nail. So it's a little bit like a square nail, um, kind of like a concrete nail. I used to use them all the time when I was doing basements. You would take and drive them in the baseboard to keep them from moving. Once you put glue down, and they're kind of like an antique nail. Anyway, uh, so once I get these all the size on the table saw, what I'll do is do the measurements and I'll cut them the size. Now I'm not worried about perfection as far as do I need to run them through a thickness planer or a joiner? No, I'll worry about that later, right? Okay, that was cool. Well, anyway, the problem I'm having now is my thickness planer is kind of out to lunch. I need to work on it. It's burning up a little bit, so I need to plane a bunch more wood. I've probably got 1,000 feet worth of this kind of wood. Now, I always tell people, why do you throw wood like this out? If you're pulling up wood flooring in your house, keep it. You can use it for all kinds of stuff. If you go to my Facebook page, just my personal page, Jeff Walsma, you'll see an outhouse. Yeah, well, this lady I did this outhouse for, I've done tables and chairs, and I mean, I've done all kinds of stuff for this lady. Okay, I shouldn't say chairs, but uh, I made a vanity for her because she couldn't find one to fit in her house. All the I'd say 90% of it was this. The only thing I had to buy was the backing. Needed that oak, red oak backing for the sheet in the backside for there. So it can be done. It just depends on if you want to. This is where the creativity comes into you guys. All right. And one thing I can't stand is somebody just making the same old, same old. That's why when you look at my bowls, none of them are the same. Not one. I've never made one bowl the same. Although I did make 4 candle holders the same. So there you go. So anyway, once I get through that's why I say these are 2 inches wide. So when you go to put 3 of them together, they'll match. So take for instance this. With this, you have to take the tongue and groove off, right? So that's taking about a half an inch off. I want to say between here and here is probably 2.5 inches. So you're taking a half inch off. Then when you plane it to get the grooves off of this, you're taking quite a bit. Typically, I want to say you're when you do all the stuff that I do to it, like I did with those, you're probably down to about 5/8 of an inch. So this is where you work the thickness into your plans. You have to allow for what you take down. Now, do I recommend doing this all the time? No. You can make things probably without taking this off. or taking this off. I've done that before. But again, you'll have gaps here and in here because when you slide that in here, it's not completely tight. And you better put a crap load of glue on this to make it fit. Otherwise, you'll have all kinds of problems, pockets of pulling back and forth. Now, I've done, in my 40 years of experience of doing stuff, just making crap out of crap. This is another piece. This is a slat, a pallet slat, all right? Now, if you look online, you can find all kinds of stuff. Pinterest is a great app to find, really kind of crazy stuff in there to do as projects. But there's two things that you would be aware of. One is, if you go take any pallets out, make sure you ask the people that it's okay that you take a pallet out. Because don't go in there and take people's stuff out, because some of them, some of the companies have to basically return those because it costs them. There's a service charge for that. The other thing is, with this, you never know if these are treated or not. Okay, so the one number one issue I've had with these is it kiln dried. See, you take a chance on that. Now, my intention with these is to put them on a wall. So all of my overhead over here, like what you see here, I'm going to do the same scenario that I did here on the walls over there. But I was reading an article about dust explosion. Now, I'm down in the basement, and so it's confined. I have an air purification system over there, and I have my vacuum over here, but that doesn't contain it that much. I mean, it does a good job, both of them. But, like here, okay, so on my desk, see that? I wiped that down yesterday. Okay, so I'm not doing any work in here. I'm not sanding. See? If you do if you do constant maintenance on your on your shop, you're okay. So, you want an extension? Well, go to Harbor Freight and ask them. I don't know what make they make. Okay, so here's a recon. This is actually okay. Here's my lathe. It says Craftsman on it, right? All right, but that's a recon. So an extension on it. Okay, so that extension and that stand is extra. Then when you buy a lathe like that, that's all you get. That's all you get right there. You don't get the tools, you don't get the stand, you don't get the extension. I tried to tell that to a guy in was learning lathe, trying to learn a lathe. I said, you're going to spend more money on your tools than you are your lathe. Fact. Although I did get that for free. But here's the thing. When it was available in 2015, average price for that was $500. So $500, and that's not counting anything else in it. All right. There's the chuck that you can get that comes with it, that plate, but that's it. It's not a regular chuck. So let's say you go out and get a Barracuda 2 or a Nova, that's $250 right there. My tools, uh, not counting the tall ones, but I have a set of 8 that costs $100. Each one of those tools there, the tall ones, is $85. orangish looking one. I just bought that at a symposium. $85. So I can write you a list of things, and I can guarantee you that 99% of it is going to cost you more money than the lathe combined. So there you go. There you go. Larry, that's cool. I don't know if I know that brand, but um, and that was the hard part for me because I got it in 2015 and didn't get 2016 is when I started turning. So I don't have it. I don't believe. See the chuck there. That's $250 right there just for itself. Then you got to pay all this extra sign. That's you. I forget where the chuck is, but yeah. Now you can shop around and get some. Um, there's some smaller ones. Harbor Freight had some really small ones. If you're gonna do pens, if you're just gonna do pens, you don't need to get that exact. You're that size. You can get the smaller ones. But again, remember, every time you go into a pen, there's always a different tool you need. So, well, yeah, mine's a Craftsman, but it's actually called a Recon. If you did a research on the numbers that made it, whoever made it, they just stuck a sticker on there. Um, and Recon's a good brand. Woodcrafters has them. Woodcrafters is where I get a lot of my stuff. But it used to be Rockler, but Rockler moved, and Woodcrafters and Woodrich is about an hour away. So anyway, here's my egg. This is kind of goofing around. All right, some of you guys have probably heard this story before, but this thing, what happened was, okay, so you can see there's something on there now. But whenever I do, when I'm turning something square, I have to cut the corners off. Well, I did a segmented bowl, a couple of them, and I cut the corners off. And when I cut them off, they're all exactly the same size, right? So I had these scraps laying around. I'm like, do I get rid of them or do I keep them? See, that's the thing with me. I get kind of anal about that. So what I did was I kept them. About a year later, I decided, well, I'm going to glue them together and see what they come out with. And I was just messing around. And I go, well, they're not. It's not perfect. You see where they're lined up. It's not perfect. But I wasn't aiming for that. I was kind of oddball, like me. So I'm still sanding it down. I've got to get rid of this little ridge here. Bottom's not so bad. That's just from the spindle side over there, the grapper. But yeah, somebody wants to buy it, I'll sell it. I have fun doing it. When you see the thing is, people in my woodworking group, they're always telling me I'm recycling stuff. So we're always joking around about that. So you never know what I'm going to come up with. That's just me. It's like this. I've been fooling around with boxes. It's just a piece of pine, and fooling around with seals and stuff. And nothing perfect. It's just pine. And if you see the inside, it's pitted, but I don't care. Yeah, if somebody wants this box, they can have it. I'll send it to them. Here's another one. But same thing. You know what this is? This is three 2x4s stuck together. That used to be in pallets. After I planed them down a little bit less. It's not pretty, but it works. Just something to fool around with. There's a certain way it goes. There you go. Like there, but you can tell they're pallets because that's where the nails were. And this one, A little bit better. I don't know what tree this came out from. I can't figure out the wood, but I got like 4 coats of polyurethane on there. Somebody wants this. Uh, that's what it looks like. I mean, it ain't perfect, but somebody wants it. I'll give it to them. Not a problem. It's just an experiment. So, anyway, uh, one other thing I want to talk about real quick um, is fire safety. Now, and this I'm an ex-fireman, so the last thing I want is kaboom. But they were talking about dust abatement, basically dust sawdust that can make your place go kaboom. So I'm an ex-fireman, and I can tell you that spontaneous combustion doesn't take much. You know, a spark here and a spark there, kaboom. So, don't know what it's on here. Anyway, I'll post it later. But y'all ought to read it. You know, it's very, very. It makes sense. And this is where I get into the making sure that your shop is clean all the time, because the day that you slack off on it is probably the day that it blows up. So, anyway, I can't find it in here now, but that'd be my night. I'm losing my voice, by the way. I will be cutting up things tomorrow, and I'll post pictures. If you know anybody that's just interested in what I do, you want questions, comments, feel free. Um, you can subscribe to me for free, by the way. I'm not charging anybody for anything. It seems to me all my friends now are doing that, and I can't get on their so-called live chat anymore unless I subscribe to their $1.99 a month. No, forget it. I don't do that. I'm free. I'm free. So, anyway, you guys have a great night. I'll talk to you tomorrow night. I'm going to go spend some time with the wife, snuggle, and watch some TV. God bless you guys. Be safe out there. And remember, always be creative. Always. God bless.